Welcome to Expedient Means with Leonard Way on Time Life Radio. Lin currently resides in China and is the founder and head teacher of Guozhen Philo-Cultural Society. He has extensive experience in Buddhist and Taoist meditation, Qigong, martial arts, and traditional Chinese medicine. To learn more about Lin, please visit his website at www.guizhenhui.net. Tonight we will be discussing Pure Land practices, aka bowing. Come on, dude. So
great.
Welcome back again, Lynn.
Hey.
So Pure Land practices are widely known as the most boring of all Buddhist practices. This is accurate.
And the Buddha even said it. This is so easy, no one's going to believe in it, no one's going to do it, because it's just too damn simple. It's one of the first sutras. The Amitabha Sutra was the first sutra that the Buddha said on his own. He wasn't requested to speak a dharma. He just decided, oh my God, look how pitiful everybody is. Let me just give you guys this method. Fairly simple. You probably won't get it. You probably wouldn't even do it. No one believes in it because it's so damn easy. But I'm going to tell you anyway, because if I don't, damn, you'll miss out. You know? Oh man! So okay.
Let's start with what's Pure Land. What's the difference between Pure Land and other forms of Buddhism?
Oh, interesting question. If you want to buy my book for $29.95, I'll tell you all about it. Okay. Well. Pure Land differs only a little bit in one aspect, and it's saying that it oh God, here's my stuttering happening with my English. Oh God. What's this word? And I love doing this on air. Great. Don't edit this out. We should not edit this out. Let this be there. It relies basically on faith, vows, and practice. And people go, faith? Oh, come on. This is so ridiculous. Vows too? Oh, man. Practice? I don't want to practice.
Is the word you're looking for devotion?
Relies. A little less difficult. Okay. Relies. Okay, now all of your Buddhist practices or any type of cultivation in this whole entire world system rely on your ability to believe what you're doing is good, okay, or what you're doing is going to get you to where you are planning to go. Vows, you have to make a promise that you're going to do it. And practice, you actually have to do the work. Okay, so Pure Land practice specifically states that within faith, vows, and practice, your application of your mind and all that you do within the methods of what Amitabha Buddha had put out for you, okay, will get you to his Pure Land. Okay? Now, before everyone thinks, oh, this is just another heaven we're going to, sorry, it's not a heaven. It's not a heaven. You're going to sit there and go dancing for joy, eating your meat or eating or doing whatever you feel like doing for the rest of your heavenly existence until that changes and the 5 signs of decay occur, and all of a sudden you're back in the human world, or maybe you're a fish. Who knows? It's up to your mind. But no, it's not a preliminary land where you go as in between you going to the next incarnation, because that's exactly not what Amitabha Buddha said. He did not say this is a in-between state, an expedient state that you get to, and then all of a sudden, after you're done here, you go to another place. No. There is no lifespan here. There is not that you have a lifespan. There is not that you go through death and rebirth. It's you go there to awaken, to become a Buddha. It's not that you're going to a place. Now you can say, where is the Buddha's Pure Land? Where is his planet? Where is his dimension? Where is this? And or is it just all in your mind that if the mind is pure, the land is pure? Well, yes, there is a place for it, and yes, if the mind is pure, the land is pure. Okay, so we have a method, or many methods of Pure Land practice that help you attain the goal of your vow, which is to be reborn in Amitabha's Pure Land. Why would anyone want to go down this Pure Land, though?
I was just going to say, again, to go back to the point.
Free coffee.
Sort of being devotional. Like, it always struck me as, when I first learned about it, it struck me as sort of and again, I don't want to create false thinking, but it struck me as outwardly the closest to, say, Christianity. that type of practice.
Okay.
What would you say about that?
I say this. People really hate on any type of devotional practice, but I can guarantee, except for those who put it aside in their vows and in their own practice, that everyone devotes themselves to making money and does everything they can for money. Money, money, money. So please, if anyone wants to sit there and argue that Amitabha Buddha's cultivation is all devotional practice similar to that of Christianity, so what kind of religion is money? Because we're all devoting ourselves in time and energy and essence and spirit to making money. We're devoting ourselves to the god of money. I mean, you're doing that, not you specifically, but I mean, generally. Oolong, you're devoting yourself to money, you greedy bastard. No. It's just that we put all our Jing Qi Shen, all our essence, spirit, and energy into things that we do, and we rely on these things so we can bring us this satisfaction state of having accomplished and having had. Okay, so really, no. Don't let's just put Amitabha Buddha's cultivation over the devotional aspect over on the side for a second, and really look at we do this every single every single day, and every single thing we do, with hopes of getting some type of sense of stability, calmness, or getting what we want. So we already are entertaining greed, anger, and ignorance. And we're using devotion to do it. But we just call it, oh, that's just the way life is. We call it, people like to say human nature. Sorry. I mean, I love it when people talk about, oh, this is human nature, or that is human nature. I mean, this is very old school sounding because it's so wrong. Who knows what human nature is? Tell me, because what happened to human conditioning? If human nature is that people are going to hate each other here and there, I can personally say I doubt that. I mean, you take a little child and he doesn't hate on anybody. And I mean a baby before it gets influenced by TV, by radio, by the parents, and by the other children who were influenced by the TV, the radio, and the parents, and society itself. So,
Right.
sorry, no, it's not human nature to hate. It's not human nature to be greedy. It's conditioning.
But most, I don't want to pigeonhole people, but a lot of times as a Westerner, I mean, if you grew up in a Christian type environment where it was, fear God and all that jazz, then when you go to you find something like Buddhism, and it seems a little bit more esoteric and interesting, and it, some people just appeal to them more. Then you learn about Pure Land, and it seems almost like you're going full circle back to that Christianity devotional type thing. And a lot of
Okay.
people will have a negative reaction to it because of that.
Well, it's because, remember, it's people who have tried to understand the Buddhist teachings and people who have made these methods because it is people who've seen that people need these things. They need to feel like they're attached to something. They're purposely stuck on something, or they need to put their energy into something external because it's the only way they're going to control themselves or fix themselves. Okay, that's why these methods of devotion are there. It's only because it's an expedient for those who don't have the means, or don't have the concentration, or don't have the wisdom, or don't have the specific mannerism in their karmic makeup to do this straight through in a manner of sitting in Chan. 9 out of 10, you got 10 people cultivating sitting meditation, strictly just investigating the mind. 9 fail usually. 10 out of the 10 people cultivating the Pure Land practice, 10 will succeed at attaining their vow. Why? Why? Because it's the manner of conditions of people. Some people need that. I want to rely, but don't confuse devotion and relying as in what those in the Christian religion do. It's not that at all, but on the outside it looks like that. People want to say if it walks like a duck, looks like a duck and talks like a duck, it must be a duck. But you got to ask who's the one actually seeing that it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, walks like a duck, and who's condemning it to be a duck in the first place. What I'm saying is you see a person, excuse me, bowing at a temple to Amitabha Buddha, or any Buddha, but we'll say Amitabha now because we're on the Pure Land focus of him. So see him, Amitabha Buddha, and they go and they bow once, they bow twice, and they bow 108 times, or they bow 10,000 times. Yeah, this person's crazy, totally fundamentalist, totally flipped out, and too devotional. I can't handle that. That's not the practice. But that's right away the first sign of not even understanding what this expedient is actually all about.
I'll probably
Okay, the bowing.
I was just going to say, I'll
Huh?
accrue some negative karma for this, but do you think if the Buddha was alive today, sort of walking the earth, do you think he would call Pure Land Buddhism for dummies?
No, no, no. Because someone at a high level will turn around and say, "Why are you sitting there investigating your mind for, stupid? Just go straight to the source." You know? Why are you sitting there doing your standing practice trying to feel the chi of the universe? What the hell? It's in you already, moron. Go and wake up to that. No, you can't wake up to it. These are methods for people who don't have the capacity to go straight up and wake up, but they have the capacity to go straight to applying their mind to a method which allows them to have to focus exactly on what they're doing. When you're bowing, it's painful. It's not easy. You tell someone to bow and they go, "Okay, I go down and bow. Okay, big deal. I didn't attain Buddhahood." Um, that attitude you didn't fix. That's one portion of the bowing. You see, when you bow, you're looking at posture. You want to go straight up technically. Let's go. Posture. How are you standing? How are you bowing? Are your joints aligning when they bow? Are they actually stretching, or are you just folding and dropping down on your thing? Doesn't mean that if you don't do it this way correctly, you're not going to attain. No, 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 no. All I'm saying is you really want to get one wants to get extremely technical. Bow correctly, stand correctly, crouch down correctly, place your head to the pad correctly, open your arms correctly, open your hands correctly. Now you're breathing. Now your application of concentration. Now all your frustrations and false thinking arise when you hit about 30 bows. And you start sweating, and your muscles start aching, and your back is in pain, and your legs can't take it, and you're shaking like a freaking earthquake happening, and you can't stand up straight. That's bowing. It's not that, "Oh, Amitabha Buddha, I love you. Please take me to the Pure Land." No, he doesn't do that. A Buddha doesn't just pick you up by the hair, pick you up by the neck, pick you up by the hands, and throw you and whirl you around and throw you to his Pure Land. Hey, there you go. That was a good one. No, he doesn't do that. He wants to see, or the Buddhas say, "Here's the method. Are you going to apply? I give you a method. Bowing. You're applying your body. You're purifying body karma. If you're reciting the Buddha's name or any Buddha's name while you're bowing, you're purifying the mouth karma. If you're applying your mind straight up to the method that you're practicing, meaning mindfulness, now that's mind. Now that's the mind, the mental aspect of what you're doing. Okay? The three karmas of body, mouth, and mind become purified in what you're doing and bowing because you're applying yourself straight up. I also want to let everyone know I'm in my office recording, so you're going to have some scuffle of students running in and out.
All right, so here's a question for you, and I know this is one a lot of people probably think but are afraid to ask. Who or what are you bowing to when you bow in bowing practice?
Okay, when we say bowing to the Buddhas, you are offering your all concentration to the Buddha. What is the Buddha? Our pure inherent wisdom. The clearest, the most greatest, what's the word here? I got the craziness happening around me, so I'm losing my train of thought. I say that sarcastically because should be focused, right? The Buddha nature, everyone has this Buddha nature. So when you're sitting there going, Amitabha Buddha, and you're bowing down, what are you reciting first? You're reciting limitless life or limitless light. And that is our true nature. So you're not going outside of you, you're reciting your true nature. When you're envisioning a Buddha, you're envisioning these qualities of pureness, which are basically the qualities of pureness of our Buddha nature. So you're envisioning your own Buddha nature. That's what you're bowing to.
Yeah, I guess some people would sort of think it's like, I guess from an external perspective, it almost looks like idolatry, right? Like it's, some people think you're just bowing to that idol or to, piece of metal or whatever, right?
Well, put it this way, yeah. When you have a teacher, are you going to say, "Hey, what's up, you moron? How you doing today?" No, you go, "Hi, teacher, how are you?" Right? Well, some people treat their teachers with respect, and usually that's what you treat a teacher with: respect and regard for what they're doing for you. Right? They're giving their time, they're giving their energy, they're giving their breath and their focus to helping you better your life. That's what the Buddhas are doing. I busted my butt for you. I busted my butt to attain Buddhahood. Now I seen the goodness of this, and I want to teach you how to do it. Here's the methods. Here's how to do it. Okay, that's what they're doing, and we're sitting there going, "Thank you for the teachings." So on one end, you want to go on one end here, and we can say, one, you're showing gratitude, and people like to say, "Why am I going to bow for it?" Because in the West, we have this thing of superiority where we don't bow to anybody. The fact is, that's conditioning, and that's a falsity. Who cares if you bow? Who gives a damn if one bows to another person? Who cares? Not a big deal. It's because people care because of their ego, because of their false thinking and their own views about who they think they are. I had one person get angry at me because I poured tea for another teacher of mine, and that person didn't regard this teacher for anything. And they're like, "Oh, he can pour his own tea." And I looked at him and I said, "So? I can pour his own tea too. Big deal." Oh, they can serve themselves, so I feel like putting food on his plate. I have a regard for my teachers. I do it for every one of my teachers. Put food on their plate for them. They've taken their time to teach me something. I take my time to give them some sustenance for their physical body. So in Buddhism, that kind of giving back to the Buddha is really giving back to your own Buddha nature, which you can't really take. But what it does is the act of actually giving to that which has never been taken away. Okay, that's letting you have right views, that we are basically inherently all Buddhas. And us putting our physical body in the shape of a bow allows us to get rid of, or put ourselves in the focus of getting rid of, our thoughts of superiority. Basically.
So what about some of the other practices? I know one of the real popular one is chanting Namo Amitabha. What's the significance of that?
Well, they're going to go and translate Namo meaning praise. Okay, great. Why can't you praise somebody? Why can't you say this person's wonderful? Why? Why is that a big deal for people? Because they still can't feel like they are inferior, because they still hold on to a view of superiority. So because they hold on to a view of superiority, they have a view of inferiority, and they don't want to be on what they consider is the quote-unquote shit under the stick. Excuse my language, but that's the usual quote people put it as. So when you're reciting and you're saying praise to Amitabha Buddha, you're going, great, wonderful things to the limitless light Buddha, limitless life Buddha. Okay, and what does that mean? The great inherent nature, that pure Buddha nature within every single living being is great, is limited in light, is limited in life. Why? Because there's no death. So there's only life. But we can't tell that it's life, because there's no death. So therefore, it's thus. And there's no darkness if there's all light. But if there's all light and no darkness, who says that there's light? So then there's just thusness. So you're actually saying praise to the thus nature of every single living being, including one's quote unquote self. So you're actually reciting your own Buddha nature. You see the method? The method Amitabha says, here, we'll use an external method. You'll recite my name, and I guarantee that you will get to my land if you apply true, pure sincerity to your practice in reciting the Buddha's name, my name, Amitabha. If you don't, I will not attain complete and pure enlightenment. I will not attain the great enlightenment. So he's telling you, if my method doesn't work and I don't fulfill this vow for the service of my vow to you, meaning you reciting my name and you really applied great sincerity, and I seen the specific time period you applied great sincerity, and I don't show up to help you go out to the Pure Land and attain Buddhahood, then I'm not going to attain Buddhahood. And you sit there and go, well, I'm not going to know until I die. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Who knows what states one's going to. Yeah, who knows what states someone's going to attain in their recitation. It could be 5 years. It could be one day that they actually did apply full sincerity. And what is full sincerity? It's following the rules. And what are the rules? Faith in what you're doing, make vows to accomplish what you set yourself out to accomplish, and actually apply yourself. And then when you couple those three together, you are mindful and you are applying no false thinking, non-discrimination. Okay, that means you're not thinking about drinking the cup of coffee after this 40-minute recitation, not thinking about the tea in this 40-minute recitation, not thinking about how much your legs are paining you when you're sitting in full lotus, or doing bowing, or doing the walking recitation of the Buddha's name, or doing running recitation of the Buddha's name, or lying recitation of the Buddha's name. When can you fall asleep? When can I fall asleep? Oh, my butt itches. Oh, I got to do this. No, that's false thinking. And that's not sincerity. So if sitting there go, well, I really applied myself and the Buddha didn't show up and say, hey, what's going on? What's up, buddy? No, then you obviously didn't put enough sincerity in there because we
Yeah,
have to apply a lot of time to our practice.
and I was just kind of thinking that Pure Land seems to be almost like the everyman's Buddhism, right? Like you don't have to be an intellectual genius to do it. You don't have to.
The
I
Buddha
guess
did
I
say
guess.
it's an easy method.
Well, I was gonna say I guess it's more just like a path of the heart, right? And everybody hopefully has that.
You are going this way. You want to take a Chan? Namo Amitabha Buddha. Okay. You can just go, who's reciting Amitabha Buddha? Who's reciting the Buddha's name? Sure, you can do it that way and be coin the Chan Pure Land practitioner, or you can say Namo Amitabha Buddha and investigate. Who am I praising? Amitabha. Where is Amitabha? What is the Buddha? Where is the Buddha? Oh, I found it. Boom, you hit your samadhi. Now you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden you break through the threshold of a certain period of time through your conditions and through your false thinking that all of it subsides. You go into your various dhyana states. All of a sudden you get a response. Maybe you get a response. But people do not go for looking. Don't go for the response. That's not the point. The point is when you recite the Amitabha's name and you apply yourself in bowing and in recitation, you are fulfilling your vows. You are fulfilling the precepts. You're not killing. You're not slandering. You're not doing sexual misconduct. You're not taking intoxicants. You're not lying. You're not doing all that stuff. So, I mean, your 5 precepts are fulfilled. The 8 precepts are fulfilled. And whether or not you took left home vows, you fulfilled those too because you're all straight up focusing on the Buddha nature. Straight up nothing else. That's why there's a whole entire absorption, okay, or engulfing of Amitabha. You go to a Pure Land temple and you have Namo Amitabha's name reciting over and over again on the speaker system. Why? Because you're in the temple for one thing and one thing only: cultivation. So the method is mindfulness of the Buddha in recitation, in walking and lying and sitting, in eating, and in speaking with other people. Mindfulness of the Buddha.
Yeah, one of the other
So
practices, like chanting, I know is quite common. And speaking from personal experience, I mean, you wouldn't think that chanting could have like a physical effect, but when you sit there for 30 minutes chanting, it has some pretty. I mean, I would have never expected it, but it almost like it opens up your heart chakra and opens up your throat chakra, and
yes, it does. And funnily enough, it actually fulfills a certain method of practice in the hearing method. So if people want to say, oh, the Pure Land is just devotion, it doesn't really do anything to Guan Yin's method of hearing, turning the hearing inward, it doesn't do anything for the Chan of being total mindful and straight up, in one focus and one thought. Or it does nothing in the quote unquote the secret school, the mantra school, and the visualization methods and all that stuff. Actually, it fulfills all of that because you recite the name, you hearing with your ears the vibration, the sound vibration of the recitation you're doing, and you're turning it inward because the sound isn't coming from outside in front of you, then into your throat, and then vibrating into your vocal cords, and then emanating outward again. No, it's coming from the body. Your breath, which when the lungs fill up, okay, when they expand and contract, that breath comes out. When you expand the lungs, the breath comes in. That's the breath you use to recite the Buddha's name. And that fulfills the act of dana, the act of giving. Okay, so now you're a bodhisattva. You're doing what bodhisattvas do. I'm giving my breath to the Buddha. In the meantime, I'm giving my essence to the Buddha because I'm applying my friggin' body's energy. And then I'm applying my spirit because I'm really enthusiastic. I'm really focused into what I'm doing. Lo and behold, if there's any animals flying around, any bugs or any types of bacteria or whatever in the air, okay, if there's ghosts or demons flying past you or going through around you or something like that, or a thief trying to steal your stuff while you're meditating, reciting, they're going to hear that. So you're actually helping to plant the seed in these other living beings' lives. To be able to cultivate the Buddha's name, to be able to cultivate this type of method, or even just Buddhism in general. So now you're a bodhisattva. Isn't that amazing? I mean, all of a sudden, you just fulfilled all aspects of Buddhist cultivation just by reciting the name Amitabha Buddha, or Shakyamuni Buddha, or Vaidya Light Bodhisattva, or Paisaja Guru. I mean, you just reciting that and putting your mind into what you're doing, focusing, you fulfilled all these vows and you fulfilled your practices. But it doesn't mean you're a Buddha. Why? Because you got to keep doing it more. Let that time happen when it happens. You don't have to go putting a check mark. Okay, I did this. I'm Amitabha today. Oh, I'm Medicine Buddha today. I'm Guan Yin today. Great. Why don't you be all of it? When if a person's sick with the lungs and they're reciting, just the sheer vibration, the sheer movement of vibration coming from the chest, okay, that itself can help relieve a lot of stress on the lungs. And the deep and slow breathing when reciting, okay, can help to revive lung capacity over time. Vibration, if there's congestion in the lungs, it can help break up the congestion over time. Okay? And for anxiety and stress and anger, it helps to diffuse that. It helps to change that vibrational level.
I was kind of wondering what your thought was on I know you mentioned that when you go into the temple, like even if they don't always have physical chanting, sometimes they have the record playing or the CD playing in the loop, right? And I mean, some people might look at that and they might just say, well, that's a dead energy. I mean, that's just a CD player running the recording. I mean, why would that affect whatsoever?
Well, it's using electricity, am I right?
Yes.
Then it's not dead energy.
Good point.
Okay, one, on a physics standpoint or scientific standpoint, it's alive, it's using energy. Now, our energy from our body radiates outward. Anything within the vicinity of 3 feet, depending on how far that energetic field can reach out. Some people are different, they can go longer and further. Any object around us is saturated with our energy field. They're not dead. So what? They don't think, they don't eat. They're vibrating with our energy. Those things are vessels of our energy, like talismans of our energy. You ever see? Okay, I give you an example. As a child, I had lots of teddy bears, and I loved my teddy bears as a kid, and I still do now. So I had my teddy bears, and what I did with them was I didn't think. I acted. I was as though they were alive. So when I would talk to them, I would give them my acknowledgement. And when someone would take them or want to play with them, I felt that they had taken a part of my energy. Literally at 3-4 years old, I felt they'd taken a part of me. And then when I was 12, 13 years old, that I used to just have them laid out on my bed just for the sake. I didn't sit there playing with them anymore, but they were still there. And my friends would come over and play catch with them. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. You know, I felt so bad, not because of not of any attachment to them, but because I had placed in my own energy to them. They were in with me all the time. I regarded and acknowledged them. Now with my son, he has his toys. I don't let him, not that I don't let him, he'll do it anyway, but I always try to let him know, even at 1.5 years old, that the stuff that he has, he is not to step on them and kick them around unless that is exactly what that toy is to be used as. If it's a stuffed animal, they're put up. If he wants to hold them, fine. If he wants to go throwing them around the room, no good. He has to respect the things around him, their functions. And I'd be conditioning him. Sure, I'm conditioning him to be very respectful of the things around him and mindful and caring that the things he has his energy in it. So if he beats up the cell phone, which he likes to do anyway, okay, it's actually him hitting himself. If he's, knocking stuff off my altar, because it's at his level, he can actually grab everything off of, he's actually hurting his own energy. So he has to learn how to regard. Now, he doesn't go to the altar. He goes to the altar, looks at me, and puts his hands in prayer and starts bowing. Just starts moving his body back and forth and his hands back and forth like he's praying or bowing or showing respect. And he looks and smiles at me. Then he takes his hand over and puts it over the incense, the censer, like he's going to grab it, and he starts smiling sinister-like. And I say, oh, are you really going to take that? That's not good. And he'll take his hand away and start laughing. And then he'll just put his hands together in the prayer and walk away, in the prayer hand posture, and just walk away laughing. So he's learning more and more that there's a way to conduct yourself, and that way is respect for things around you and acknowledgement and regard for things around you. That's what I did as a kid. I never threw my stuff all over, all my toys, like the ones that were supposed to be thrown, I threw them all over the place. I even burned them. Okay, but the idea is that whatever we have around us, it has our energy in it. So when you have that CD player or whatever it is playing on a loop, the Amitabha recitation or a mantra or whatever, a sutra or whatever, it's not dead. So what? It goes back and forth. What are your views about that going back and forth? That's what's dead. That's what's not good. When one person walks in and goes, "Oh, you're still playing this again? Oh, God, it sounds so retarded. It's so annoying. It's making my head ache." That's good. Makes your head ache because there's problems. There's false thinking. There's things inside, internal, what we'll call internal demons inside, that are running for their life because this thing is telling, this recitation points to you to say, acknowledge the good and the light within and your pure inherent wisdom within. Don't pay attention to all the garbage that's superficial. See, I had when I had my school in Brooklyn, my cultivation school in Brooklyn, I would teach martial arts there. And during the whole day, I would leave the Amitabha recitation machine on all day long at a mild level, so it's not too loud, but you can notice. But it wouldn't interrupt if I was doing lecture or teaching. And I had my students for martial arts. I had rabbis, I had Muslim students, I had Christians, I had Buddhists, and I had atheists. I mean, I had all kinds of people. And with it going on, they never once commented anything. And I asked them too, after a few, some time getting to know them more as I was teaching them, I said, "Does the recitation machine bother you?" They say, "No, not at all." And then at that time, one of my Muslim students, he came in and he said, "Do you mind if I put that louder?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "I just feel so calm every time I come in here and I hear that going on. I don't know what the hell it's saying, but damn, man, I feel so at peace. I feel so happy. I feel like everyone's my brother." And I started laughing. And I said, "Do what you want, Then I had another student come up to me and say, "Do you mind if I light up incense at the temple?" I said, "That's your choice." Other people had issues with me letting it be people's choices because they like to push a specific agenda and making them do certain things. It wasn't an altar to the Buddhas, it was an altar to Guanggong. In a martial arts school, I had my altar to the Buddhas and an altar to Guanggong on the other side. And people were demanding that I had my students light up incense forcefully to that. I said, no, nobody should be forced to do anything. It's their own choice. And when they want to, they can say they want to, and they can do what they wish. So after I explained this to the students, the Islamic student, the Muslim student, he says to me, "What is it saying?" And I explained to him that this is a method, an expedient to help the person realize that the inherent nature of the Buddha is within each and every living being. That pure undefiled wisdom is within each and every one of every single living being. We are basically of one substance. So he goes, so that feeling of brotherhood, family, that was pretty damn good. I said, yeah, that's pretty damn good. He goes, well, you better keep that playing every time I come here. I may not be Buddhist, but man, I love feeling peaceful and loving with everybody. Not one person had a problem with it. Why? Because it's not the mannerism of full out, oh, Amitabha Buddha, I must worship. No, it's recognition of the Buddha nature within each and every single being. That's the thing. If I just rip the expedient out and I tell you this is its function, then it becomes totally different. Then you're going, oh, that's what it is for. Okay, now I can hear the expedient and I can realize the function. Now when a person goes to a temple and hears the Amitabha Buddha recitation, they go, oh my God, these people are crazy. Just keep that thing going on like a parrot, not stop. Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha. Okay, good. At least it got that person to say Amitabha, right? They planted the seeds for Amitabha. Whether they like it or not, it's going to happen. Why? Because we're all that way. But we are not realizing that way unless we are realizing that way. That's all.
Well, and again, too, people got to realize that just because it's technology doesn't mean it's against Buddhism or, the Buddha never talked about it, because that's one of the things that the Buddha said, right, was that Buddhism will always adapt to the times and places where it's taken.
Yeah. Yeah, if people are complaining that you have a monk driving a car, I mean, get real. In the old days, they had boats. In the old days, they had horse and carriage. So why not we can't have a Buddhist monk in a car? I mean, come on. Seriously. You know what? You know what? Why don't you, the people complaining, why don't you go do the horse and carriage buggy thing and drive from Manhattan to New Jersey? Why don't you do that on horse and carriage? Okay? No, that doesn't fit with the way the society has moved with. Okay? See, Buddhism goes, you work with the conditions at hand. What are the conditions of our world right now? Well, we're in a technologically, supposedly technologically advanced society that's basically imploding themselves from within. Great. So if a Buddhist needs to get in his BMW, so be it. Who gives a damn? BMW is a good type of car. So if a Buddhist has a car, he can't have the BMW. He has to have a crappy car. Why? So his car can break down in the middle of the street and he can ask someone for help and sit there all pitiful, and they're going, "Oh, I can't get because I'm a poor little Buddhist. Damn." No, get a good car because he has the blessings to be a Buddhist, be a Buddhist monk, have the blessings to have people fund him to teach what he has to teach, and people are attaining, or people are being better at what they people are being better at who they are, being better people generally. Then great, good. They gave him a BMW, they gave him a Mercedes. So what? Big deal. He's doing his job. So I don't understand how people can sit there and complain that Buddhists can't be comfortable. Well, everyone has this idea that Buddhists got to walk around barefoot, no underwear, no pants, a sheet over their body, and that's about it. Sure, about 3,000 years ago. But it doesn't happen nowadays. Now we have shoes, we have better quality cloth, okay, and we have air-conditioned houses, and that's the times and that's the conditions. I mean, if people want that kind of really raw practice, sure, Buddhists have that too. And when it's time to apply it, they throw off the garb and go like, okay, here's your sheet. Wrap it around you. Let's go out in the forest, 0-degree weather, and let's get our internal heat going and meditate. And you see, oh my god, I can't take it. Well, then stop complaining. I always put it this way: if the people can't handle what is actually out there, then stop complaining. If you're complaining about this person, this Buddhist monk doing this thing, why don't you try to do that first? And if you can do it that way and even better and even attain, then complain. But if you can't even handle it, then shut up. There's no point for you to start causing more false thinking. This is why the Buddha said, don't slander Buddhist monks. Don't slander Buddhist nuns. Don't slander cultivators of the way. Not because, oh, it's something you cannot touch. You know, it's Buddhism. No, don't curse it out or you'll go to hell. No. It's saying the more false thinking you create through ignorance will only beget more ignorance and cause more suffering for yourself. So why don't you worry about yourself? Don't worry about what happens in the Sangha. That's none of your business. Unless you go and become part of the Sangha. Then you can complain amongst the Sanghans. And say, oh, you're a moron. Oh, you're a moron. Oh, you're an even bigger moron. And you start calling each other moron all day long. Fine, because you're in the Sangha. But if you're not in the Sangha, then shut up. You know what I mean? You're not in the left home Sangha, then there's no real reason to sit there complaining about what these Sanghans are doing unless you're being directly affected by it. Like, you know, you can't sleep at night, you can't eat your food, and, you know, your eyes are bulging out of your head in rage, and you're having anxiety attacks, and God knows what else, and you sit there and go, it's because the Sanghans gave me poison. They gave me poisonous dharma. Okay, good. Now go back and tell them what you did and let them fix it for you. Simple.
I'm personally kind of waiting for the scientists to invent the enlightenment pill or the enlightenment ray. I'd probably be waiting a long time.
I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you a little bit. I heard some bits and pieces, and I tried to make it up. And I thought it was funny, but I couldn't hear it actually. So
no,
try to tell me again.
I just said I was waiting for the scientific community to invent the enlightenment pill or the enlightenment ray. Make things a lot.
Oh, right. That'd be funny if they can.
No,
but they have to cultivate. The technology can get you so far. Everyone wants to argue technology will get us to see the cells, the DNA, and we can see the energetic and atomic makeup and all this fun stuff. Great, but you're still seeing a form. You're still seeing the things that have been influenced in order for that thing to be in that specific way. Go deeper. That's not deep enough. The atom, the smallest little particle, whatever other small little particle out there, I'm not a quantum physicist. Whatever it is, that's still something that has been influenced to be that specific shape in that specific way. Go deeper. That's not deep enough.
All right, so we touched upon bowing, chanting, reciting. What about, I guess, any other practices? Maybe the incense could just
Well,
be.
we're gonna go a little. We'll speak on that another time because there's a whole, this is a whole there's a whole methodology to all this stuff, and it would be really good to pick each one and discuss them, go a little bit in depth. But with bowing, remember that physically you can lose some weight. It's good weight loser. So I want to do crunches. No, why don't you do some bowing? You can do full extensive bowing, which your body extends out and everything touches the floor. You can do curl down bowing, touching the forelimbs to the ground and the forehead. That'd be pretty cool too. You could do full body bowing, right? But it's good for the body. It's exercise. Okay. Two, when you apply the method, you apply a vow, you make a vow to be reborn in Amitabha's Pure Land. Don't think that you're sitting there going, oh, I'm going to be saved. I can do whatever I want and just repent and I'll be saved. No, no, no. It doesn't work that way. You need effort. You need to apply effort. You need to apply your practice. You need to apply a mindfulness. You have to have faith in what you do. You have to believe that what I'm doing is making me a better person. It doesn't mean, okay, if I bang my head on the desk about 50 times, that will help me be a better person. You probably get a bigger forehead, but it just means that not everything you do is going to make you a better person, but you got to understand the founding principle of this specific practice. It is to open up wisdom. It is to realize goodness. It is to recognize the Buddha nature. So if you're bowing and all of a sudden you just sit there thinking, I want to kill every single living being in the whole entire world system. So they go, wait, the method didn't, the teachings and education doesn't actually say this. What's happening? You're hitting a demon state. Then you revert back to the 50 skandha demon states and see where you fall in. Or in combination of states, whatever, you go back and investigate the Shurangama Dharma if you want. And or you can sit there and go, oh, wait, I feel like I want to kill everybody. What the hell's going on here? Oh my God, I'm going to flip out. And you go, wait, let me just go back to my recitation. And you start reciting Amitabha, Amitabha. And you know what? You've realized that you just broke through that state. So remember, whenever you're getting outside of Amitabha, you want to go back inside. Because anything outside of that during your recitation session is not what you're doing. So put everything right back to what you're doing. When I was in a Buddhist temple, in a Pure Land temple, many, many years ago, I would get out early in the morning around 2 or so and go to the Pure Land recitation hall and go do walking recitation. Just walk in a circle around the Buddha, and it was very, very, very large hall. So our normal sessions were about an hour and a half of reciting from 4 o'clock to about 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 2 hours in the morning. So I was already starting around 2. So I started doing my recitation, walking recitation. And about 25 minutes, I guess, or so, I started hitting states where I was seeing this gigantic demon coming right off the ceiling. I mean, our ceiling was so many feet high, really, 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 very, very high. And our rooms were gigantic. This recitation hall was gigantic, man. So I can't really tell you how high it was. I don't know. But it was extremely high. And this really large demon appeared as I'm walking in recitation. And it just was dripping blood, and it was like the floor turned into blood, the walls turned into like burning skin, molted skin. It started to smell. I mean, there was real substance in there, and I'm just reciting, going on, and I'm looking, and I started getting like the not fear, but kind of like a rush of energy going through my body started to cause me to shake. But it wasn't fear. I wasn't fearful at all. I mean, I've seen worse. But it was pretty wicked. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden it says, keep going, because when you're done, you're dead. That's it. You keep going, and you're asking for death. And I just kept going, and as I'm stepping, it felt like my feet couldn't peel off the ground, and when I roll off the ground, and when I lifted my foot, it felt like they were being pulled, and then it felt like my skin was being ripped right off, and it was like leaving trails of footprints of blood and skin when I was walking, and I just kept forcefully going. I started feeling it tugging at my heart, try to instill fear, and I started feeling anxiety. I started feeling fear, massive fear, and and just like hearing thoughts of run away, go away, don't do it. And I'm Amitabha the hell out of myself. Not like Amitabha, not like that frantically. Just maintain the speed, maintain the breath. Okay, not like inhaling super fast, like oh my god, Amitabha, Amitabha. Not like that. Just maintaining the same speed I started out with, and maintaining my concentration. While all this sound and all this influence is coming around me, I was still trying to maintain, still applying my focus to keep going. If I die, I die. That's no big deal. I didn't even bother thinking. Just keep reciting. And I think this happened for, I really don't know how long. I would assume maybe about 10 or 15 minutes. Soon after, I know I started around 2 o'clock. I ended about 3:15, and our recitation started about 4 o'clock again. But I was the only one in the hall. So as I was doing this, I was seeing more and more of these weird-looking creatures coming down the walls, walking behind me. The bigger one, the largest one, was just walking, scaling the ceiling, following me everywhere I go with this long tongue and blood dripping down from it. It was just really, really horrid. And after I think that 10 or 15 minutes that I assume had passed, it was gone. The air just totally went from so heavy and putrid to totally pure and clean. And it felt cool. And it felt lively. I mean, it was dead summer and it was so hot, but all of a sudden, just this cool, fresh breeze entered the room, and my feet felt lighter, and I was just at peace. Like I felt no fear, no anxiety, no hearing of other types of voices trying to steer me into running away or being fearful. And then, give it a few little bit time later, people that were outside. I saw people outside the door because we have window at the doorways, and there was several people, and they started to enter right when that feeling started to clear out, and all that beautiful, great, cool breeze started coming in. Everything settled down, and it was like such a delight to be there again. People just started entering, just do their own quick 20-minute recitation or bowing or sitting, and then I started to finish up around 3 or 3:15 or so, and some of the people asked me, "Where did the rest of the people go?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "We saw you in there, and we saw some other people started to follow you over time." It's like, "You saw people, or what else did you see?" "No, we just saw actual people." I said, "How long ago?" "Just now." Right when that air started to clear. That's the best I can assume, because right when I started to see the people, that's when the air started to clear up and everything went clean and happy. And all of a sudden they started coming in. And when I was in the hallway, they were like, "Hey, where'd everyone else go?" And I just started laughing after I figured it out, that when the air went clean, there was whatever was in that cultivation hall decided to start cultivating. Or maybe that clear energy was good spirits came in to start cultivating. Who knows what it was? All I know is that when you actually applying yourself single-mindedly, you'll hit states. And if you just keep pushing through them, you realize those things are just superficial.
That's
It's
an
really
interesting
intense.
story.
Pure land practice any cultivation can be very, very, very intense. Cannot take it for face value and say, "Oh, it's just a bowing, it's just devotion." Really? What the hell does anybody know about devotion anyway?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking you probably just scared the hell out of half the listeners.
I'm a very strange person, so this is not going to happen to other people. It happens to me because I'm just, I have freaky experiences like this, freaky to other people. But I let you know that this is in the cultivation world. Things weird may happen, and things weird may not happen. Look, 2 nights ago I was reciting Amitabha with my child. He's only a year and a half, right? You can't really do anything. But he was getting cranky to go to sleep, so I put on a recitation for him. He usually goes to sleep with medicine Buddha mantra, and he goes right to sleep with it after a good, sometimes right away, sometimes within 5 minutes, he falls right to sleep. Sleeps all night long. Anyway, I put on the Amitabha recitation, and we're sitting there, and he's a little cranky, and I just start reciting with the flow of the recitation music. And he stopped, and he looked at me, and he just kept staring at me as I'm reciting for about 10 minutes. And then I start talking to him about the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and I start going into detail with him anyway. And he's just, every time I ask him a question, he laughs and giggles, and every time I start talking and I'm saying, "Don't you think this way?" and he'll agree, he'll go, like, yes, whatever. Anyway, whatever. Now, the fact is, after about that time, he went right to sleep, straight to sleep. And I ended up dreaming of my teacher, which is pretty cool. I ended up dreaming of Master Xuan Hua, and he brought over Master Jing Kong Master Jing Kong, and they were, coming to visit me. It was a really interesting dream, a really fun dream. But anyway, people don't know what they're really going to get with Amitabha name recitation because they have too much false thinking about the methods in Pure Land. They think they know. They think, oh, because another Buddhist monk from another tradition comments on the Pure Land and it says it's one thing or it's that thing or it's another thing, that it must be one of those things. Okay? And they're believing these things. But they're forgetting that if the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, thought it was a useless method, he would never have said it. Seriously. He would never have spoken this method. He would never have told about Amitabha Buddha. Seriously. So we can't sit there and go, Shakyamuni Buddha, he must have been stoned, or he must have been off his rocker that day, or he must have been a little achy in his stomach, or whatever. He just decided to talk about it. No! Because everything he decides to talk about has some type of meaning to it in the terms of cultivating to attain this wisdom that we all have, to really open up and get to realize what's going on in the world of our mind. Anyway.
Pretty deep stuff.
On our next topic, fingernail biting.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we call that one a wrap? And
we should name it that. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us again, Lynn.
Yummy. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening, and I'll end on a little quote as we like to do, and this one goes: I love you when you bow in your mosque, kneel in your temple, pray in your church, for you and I are sons of one religion, and it is the Spirit. And that's from an Islamic writer called Khalil Gibran. So, very nice. All right, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.